Hi guys, what's up? Welcome to my Chompy hunting guide. Now this is not a guide for the quest big chompy bird hunting, it's a guide for actually hunting the chompy birds after the quest. So sorry if you're looking for a quest guide, but that's not what this is. So I just recently finished doing 4,000 kills of chompies. You can see 4,002, and that's what unlocks the highest level hat, and the only thing you get from hunting chompies is little hats. And so this is basically a pointless thing to do, but the hats look really cool, so some people choose to do it like me. And this is giving me a guide on how to do it the fastest way possible. Now, with this method I get about 200 kills per hour, and this is basically the fastest way to do it on old school. And so I'm just going to start off with the inventory setup, and you want to get 24 ogre bellows, and you can get these in the cave near Rance. And if you've done the big chompy bird hunting quest, you'll know where that is. And there's a cave just north of Rance, and you can use the drop trick to fill your inventory of these. And I would just get 24. You can get 25, but don't get more than 25. And then you can have 2 composite ogre bows, and that's just because you can only check kills from your inventory, so it's a little bit nicer. And for your gear setup, you actually, if you have void, use it, because void is the best thing to use. You have to use range to kill these. And if you don't have void, just use dragon hides or whatever. Make sure you have your Ava's device, and make sure you have a composite ogre bow. These are the best bows you can use for chompy hunting. And also make sure that you're using brutal arrows. Now, if you want to spend a lot of money, you can make rune brutal arrows, but you'll need to find somebody with high smithing to make the nails. And if you want to be a bit more economic, I would recommend mithril or adamant brutals. I used both. I used about 2,000 or 2 or 3,000 myths, and then around 1,000 adamant brutals. And honestly, I'd recommend myth because adamant are kind of expensive for what you're doing, really, and they don't make a huge difference. So looking on the RuneScape map, obviously Castle Wars is right here, and that's where I'm standing right now. And Rance is down here, and he's the one that gives you the chompy hats, and right here in this cave is where you get the bellows. And the fastest way to get there is to use Fairy Ring right here if you have it, if not just run. And where you're going to be hunting chompies is actually way over here, and this is the best spot to hunt chompies. I'll zoom in a bit. It's right here. So if you leave Castle Wars and go south, then you run all the way west, and it's right near the teak tree down here. And this is where you're going to be hunting chompies. And obviously in the quest you hunt them over here, but it's really bad over here. It's not an efficient location, and you'll see in a minute that this is much faster and much easier to use. So heading over there, you can see that there are actually a few different spots with the toads and everything. And anywhere with these toads and these swamp bubbles and everything, you can hunt chompies. And you can hunt them here, but I find that the spot furthest west is the best. I don't really know why, but it just seems to work out the best. And I've watched a few different guides in the past, and they all seem to say to use this one, and that's the one that I've always used. So I would recommend it personally. So you want to head over to here, and one thing that's important to note is that if you're planning on doing this on old school, you're going to have to make your own brutal arrows, because nobody sells them and nobody buys them, really, because nobody really does this. So you're going to have to cut Aki trees, or He trees, or however you pronounce these. And what I did to make the brutals, it really doesn't take that long. You just have to make nails, and you need 4 feathers per brutal arrow, and you just cut these trees and then fletch them into ogre arrow shafts, and then attach the feathers and then attach the nails. And for 4,000 kills you probably need about 3 to 3.5k myth brutals. So that will maybe take you like an hour or 2 to make those tops on your own, and compared to the time it takes to get 4k chompies, that's really not too bad. So the first thing you want to do once you get here is fill up all your bellows, and you do this by using your bellows on the swamp bubbles here. And mine are already mostly full, but usually you want to fill from this bottom one, and I'd recommend having your inventory set up exactly like this. And this is because when you use this bellows, it will still draw from the top ones, and it'll just go all the way down, so you can keep using this bellow over and over again. If you use the top one, then it'll just use up 3 tries, and then your bellow will be empty, and it won't work. So you're better off doing this, and it's the same thing for filling the bellows. You're better off using your bottom one right here. So the actual action of hunting chompies is a little different than you might expect. What a lot of people tend to do is they'll get 3 in their inventory, and then they'll place them all down at once, and they'll like run to a specific spot to place them. But at this spot it doesn't matter where you place your toad, so you just want to pick up a toad with your bellows and immediately place it down, and then move on to your next toad and place that down immediately. And what this does is it makes it so that you have the most toads down at once, which makes your chances the highest of actually spawning a bird. Now for each toad you have around a 1 to 1.5 chance of actually spawning a bird, so not every toad will spawn a bird, but this full inventory, which is 72 toads worth, will spawn about 40 to 50 birds, so it's a little over half of your toads will actually attract a bird. But basically what you do is you just do this so fast that you'll get lots of birds very quickly, and this is better because you're picking them up and then dropping them down immediately, rather than moving around to set them in a line or anything. And this is basically all you have to do, is just set down toads as soon as you can and never stop moving, because the faster you set them down, obviously the faster you use up your bellows and the faster you attract birds and the more kills you get per hour. And it does take some fine tuning, but this is the basic action, and as you can see the toads are a pain in the ass to click on, but you get kinda used to it and pretty soon you'll have lots of birds spawning. Now what this bird just did is he actually ate my bait, and there is a way to avoid birds doing this, because obviously if they eat your bait then your bait's gone and can't attract any more birds, and so it's better to have more bait obviously down. And what you want to do is, as soon as birds spawn, attack them immediately, and if you have multiple birds spawn, attack each one and then kill them afterwards if you don't kill them in your first hit, because what this does is after you've attacked a bird once, it can no longer eat your bait. And I'm not sure why this is, but it's just always been the case that so if a bird spawns and is heading after your bait and then you attack it, it will not eat your bait. So it's best to make sure that as soon as a bird spawns you attack it, and that way they won't eat your bait and you'll get more kills per hour obviously. So some useful tips. First of all, one thing that's kind of nice is that obviously there are certain ticks in which you can attack, and there's like a delay between each attack that you shoot, and between range attacks you can actually place a toad like that and waste no time at all, and it just makes it a little bit faster, so you can attack a bird and then get a toad, and then you can be attacking the birds and placing your toads between attacks like that, and once you get used to it, it can speed it up a little bit more. And I mean, most of these small things will just increase it by a few kills per hour, but once you get really good at it, it adds up and can increase your kills by 10, 20, 30 per hour and make it significantly better. And the higher range you have, the more kills you'll be getting, and also whether you have void makes a big difference. I was actually just showing my friend earlier, and he had void and he was one hitting them much more often, which can make a big difference, because I mean a lot of times I'm taking 2 or 3, 4 hits to kill these things, which makes it take quite a bit longer, just because I don't have void and I don't have extremely high range, so I'm only 81 right now. But you'll still get it done quite quickly. I mean, this method, as I said earlier, would be about 200 kills per hour, and I have tested it at that. So if you just want to get a 5 feather hat, the lowest level 5 feather hat is actually at 1,000 kills, and that's a white one, so you can get that done in 5 or 6 hours once you get used to it. So it's not going to take you that long to get a cool looking hat, and it's really the higher level 5 feather hats that take the longest, because your first 5 feathers at 1,000 and your last 5 feathers at 4,000. So it goes, I mean, the kills to get your next hat goes up exponentially the same way your skill total, like your experience levels, go up, to the point where your first 5 feather hat is at 1,000 kills, and then your second to last 5 feather hat is at 3,000, and between your second to last and your last hat is 1,000 kills, which is how much it takes to get through like your first 15, 20 hats or so. I've had a few people ask me if you should pluck the birds or not, and I never do, because you still get the kill count if you don't pluck them, and plucking them takes a lot of your time away. And what plucking them does is, I can show you guys, you get a chompy bird meat and you get some feathers, and feathers are basically worth nothing now because you can buy them from shops in packs for 2 GP each, so feathers aren't really useful. But the raw chompy can be used to make wild pies, which boosts your slayer level, and wild pies go for anywhere from 5 to 15k each. So if you want to, you can collect these chompy meats and make them into wild pies. You need 85 cooking, and you need a few other types of meat also, but it can be profitable. It can be quite profitable if you decide to do this. but it will make your Chompy kills very slow. I haven't actually tested it banking, but you need to change your inventory setup and do this quite differently if you wanted to bank the Chompy meats. So I personally wouldn't recommend it. It's worth trying just to see if it's any good money, but it's also probably difficult to sell wild piles in bulk because a lot of times people just need them to boost their Slayer for a requirement for something or whatever. So as far as XP, these are about 10k ranged XP per hour, so terrible. Doing 4,000 of them will get you 160k ranged XP just from the kills, and then after you kill 4,000 of them, you get an instant 40k bonus ranged XP. Just as soon as you get your 4,000th kill, you get a little pop-up, and you get 40,000 ranged XP. And so that brings the total to 200k ranged XP from doing 20 hours of these, so 4,000 of them. So obviously it's terrible for XP and you're losing money on the brutal arrows. So only do this if you really like the way the hats look. I mean, the hats do look really sick, and I'll show you guys in a second if you haven't seen them before. So I'm going to head over to rants now. Make sure that you bring your bow, your actual Chompy composite ogre bow with you if you want to get your hats, because you have to actually show him the bow in order to get the hats. The way it works is that you supposedly scratch a notch in the bow for each bird that you kill. So, you know, after you've killed 4,000 of them and scratched 4,000 notches, your bow is basically gone. But, you know, that's RuneScape logic. So you just head east from the fairy ring, AKS, and Rance is over here, and there's often people doing the quest. And if you talk to him, you'll go through some options, and then you can ask about free hats, and he asks you to show the bow, and then you show him the bow, and he'll give you however many hats you've earned based on how many kills you have. And as you can see, it starts at 1 feather hats, it goes up to 3 feather hats, and then it goes up to 5 feather hats. And the hats come in white, green, red, black, blue, and gold is the highest level one. And so I'll just show you guys quick what they actually look like. It looks pretty sweet. I mean, that's why I do it, it's just because I like the way it looks. And these are all the different colors. The black would look awesome with the Slayer cape, or the red. And a lot of people just do this and get like the one. Even the one just looks kind of cool, and I think this one's like 30 kills or something. So it's really not too hard. So anyways guys, that's about all for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. And this is basically the same thing that you want to do on RuneScape 3. It's just that with RuneScape 3 you have more stuff available to you. You'll have Void and a lot higher level range gear, so it'll be faster in RuneScape 3, but it's the same basic methods. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. Make sure to leave a comment with any questions that you have. There might have been a few things that I've missed. I'm so used to doing this that it seems natural, and it might seem kind of weird to you guys, I'm not really sure. So just leave a comment with any questions that you have, and I'll happily respond to that. And maybe if it's really something that I feel like I missed, I'll post in the description or edit the video or something like that. But anyways, that's about all for this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you liked the video, and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next time.